So 7.5 is taking everything that we learned so far and they're just putting it into word problems. So there's just an extra step of translating the word problem. Okay? So translating a word problem into a system of equations, the first thing that we have to do whenever we have a word problem is define each variable. Okay? Which means if you're going to use x, you have to say what x equals. If you're going to use y, you have to say what y equals. You cannot just assume that the person reading your work knows what you are referring to. Okay? So after we define each variable, we're going to write an equation from the first sentence. Okay, so that first sentence is going to give us our first equation. So what do you think step 3 is? Write an equation from the second sentence. And typically it's the first and second sentences that give you your information. Sometimes it might be the second and third, but you guys know what I mean. Yeah. Okay? So most of your information will be given to you right away, and usually each equation is a separate sentence. And it should be pretty apparent which one is which. Okay? And so then you're going to have a system, and so you can choose which method you want to use. You're going to solve using either elimination.
So wait, so it's going to be like Unit 6, how we had the two sentences, or no?
Yes, there's going to be, yes.
Oh,
it's going to be like a little short paragraph, which is why I typed it out for you.
Okay.
So you can, after you make your system, you can choose whichever method you like better, elimination or substitution. I'll give you all a hint. Typically on word problems, you will want to use elimination. It's my favorite method. I think it's the one that you guys like better. And usually typically when we translate into a word problem into a system, x and y will always be on the same side anyway. So it's just easier to use elimination. But we'll see what happens as we get onto it. Okay, so let's try the first example. Okay, so 2 burgers and 2 orders of fries cost $4.20. 4 burgers and 1 order of fries cost $6. Find the cost of each one. So our first step is to define each variable. What are the 2 things that are going to be our variables? Burgers and fries. So why don't we let B be the number of burgers. So we actually have to write that. So B equals number of burgers. And what do you want number of fries to be? How about F? F equals number of fries. Oh no, it's not number, it's cost. I'm sorry. Cost. I'm sorry. Notice how the question asks you find the cost of each. So we're actually given everything in cost. I'm so sorry. It's not number, it's cost. So that last sentence, find the cost of each, it'll tell you if you're working at amount or looking at cost. Okay? Some questions will ask you how many burgers. And some will ask you the cost of each. Whatever the question is, that's what we're looking at. Does that make sense? Okay? Okay, so next step is to write an equation from the first sentence. My first sentence says 2 burgers and 2 orders of fries cost $4.20. So what do you think I'm going to do there?
B.
2B
2B
plus
2F
2F
equals $4.
equals 4.2, right?
Yeah.
4.2. Is everybody okay if I just leave it as 4.2?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Or I'll just write the 0 just because. Okay. Step 3 was to make an equation from the second sentence. What's the second sentence say? 4B plus 1 order of fries. So what's that? Just F equals 6. You can just leave it as 6. Yeah. Okay. So we have a system now. Which method do you all want to use here? Substitution or elimination?
Elimination.
Who votes for elimination?
Me.
Who votes for substitution? We could use substitution because we already have f by itself, right? We just have to subtract 4b. But let's use elimination since that's what most people voted for. Okay? So for elimination, looking at these, which variable are we going to want to eliminate?
F.
Who votes for F? Who votes for B? Okay, there were more F's, so we'll do F. Okay, so we're going to eliminate, it doesn't matter. It's a 6. So, if we want to eliminate F, we have to multiply what? -2 on the top or bottom? On the bottom. So we multiply by -2. And just so that I can keep everything lined up, I'm going to rewrite 2b plus 2f.
Wait, how did you get -2?
We picked -2 because we want to eliminate the f,
Oh, okay.
and this is positive 2f.
Let's do that.
So if we multiply by -2f, or by -2, it'll end up giving me -8b minus 2f equals...
Notice that one has a number in front of it. The F. Just like, you know how right now that one
Okay, so when we distribute that -2 to everything, that gives me -8b minus 2f equals -12. And now I can add my equations together. So 2b minus 8b, what does that give me? -6b. 2f minus 2f cancels. And -12 plus 4.2. Am I going to be adding those two things or subtracting them? Subtracting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do scratch work off to the side. So that's 12.00, right? Minus 4.20 because we need the decimals to line up. Equals 0 minus 0, 0. 0 minus 2. I have to borrow, so that gives me 8. And then I have to borrow again. So 11 minus 4, 7. So 7.80. Negative, right? Because the -12 is bigger. So we have -6b equals -7.80. So to solve for b, divide both sides by -6, which is good because that's going to make my price positive, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is 7.80 divided by 6? 6 goes into 7 once. Subtract. Bring down the 8. 6 goes into 18 3 times. 0, and that's going to be a 0, right?
Is it negative 6 you have to divide by?
Well, if we have a -7.8 divided by a -6, they're both going to become positive, right? So what was the cost of one burger? $1.30. Please make sure that you write the dollar sign because we're looking at cost.
Can we do this?
So that's the answer for the cost of a burger. Now, what did the question ask you? Find the cost of each. So we got burgers, so I need to do fries.
To do that all.
Okay, which equation do you guys want to use?
The top one. Top one.
I would use the bottom because F is already by itself,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Okay.
So let's take 130 and plug it in for B. So that's going to be 4 times 1.30 plus F equals 6.
So
Okay, 4 times 1.30. That gives me 5.2.
5.20.
5.20. plus f equals 6. Subtract 5.20 from both sides. So f equals, this is $6.
So $1.
Not even a dollar. 80 cents, right?
Sorry, because you have to borrow.
Because you have to borrow.
I feel so smart right now.
Okay.
I know, we talked about it.
Okay, I'm gonna put a box so that just to separate my work.
It used to be.
Yeah, that was a cheap burger and fries. Okay, does that make sense, guys?
Where did this kid go?
So the answer is 80 cents for fries and $1.30 for burgers.
So
Okay.
we'll have two answers?
Yeah, so for these, they're not asking for a point, they're asking for two separate things, right? Because they're actually things. So you just leave it as two separate answers.
Okay.
Okay?
Convenient.
Okay, number 2. This one's not as bad. The sum of two numbers is 14. Their difference is 2. Find the two numbers. What do you want to call our numbers?
X. No, S first. No.
How about x and y? Okay, so the sum, so let's say x equals first number, y equals second number. Now, we're not worried about if they're consecutive or not, right? It's just sums and differences. So the sum of two numbers is 14. What's that going to be?
So X plus Y equals 14.
X plus y equals 14. Their difference is 2.
Subtracted.
X minus y equals 2. Oh my gosh, it's already all set up for us. What method are we going to use? Elimination. What am I going to eliminate, x's or y's? Y's. So we add the two equations. X plus x gives me 2x. Y minus y cancels. 14 plus 2.
16.
16.
Divide.
Divide both sides by 2.
So 2x equals
So x equals
8.
8.
That was easy.
Okay, I need both numbers. So what do I do?
You have to do all of this?
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it in your head.
Mm-mm.
We have to 8.
Plug it back in
Yeah. So
to which one, first or second?
first.
Let's do the first. Okay, so that's x, which is 8, plus y equals 14. Okay, now this is easy. To subtract 8 from both sides. Y equals 14 minus 8?
6.
6. Now we also do not have to write these as a point because they are two separate numbers. Okay?
Easy.
So we have x equals 8 and y equals 6.
They still are easy.
Alright, number 3. Now we're looking at some geometry stuff.
Yeah.
Two angles are supplementary. That means that they total 180 degrees. So when you add the two angles together, they equal 180. Okay? One angle measures 2 times the other angle. Find the measure of both angles. So what do you want to call our angles? X and Y. So x equals first angle, and the abbreviation for angle, it looks like a less than sign. I know. Oh, but you can put a thingy through it, right?
Yeah.
And y equals second angle. Okay, so let's put the thingy through it so we know it's an angle. That's just an abbreviation. Yeah, like a sideways A. Okay, so the two angles are supplementary, which means they total 180. So what does that give me?
So X plus, wait, X
Mm-hmm.
plus Y equals 180.
X plus y equals 180. That's your first one. Good. Second sentence. One angle measures 2 times the other angle.
X times Y.
It doesn't matter which one. Okay? 2 times. So is that plus or multiplication?
Multiplication.
That's multiplication. So when it says one angle measures, that means one angle is equal to, right? So let's just have x is equal to. So x equals 2 times the other angle. So what's that going to be? 2y. So let's read this again. One angle, x, measures equals 2 times the other angle. So 2 times y. Does that make sense? Okay, so we have our system. Which method will you use here? Substitution, because we already have x equals something. Okay, so x equals 2y. So I always put parentheses around it. And what am I going to do? If I want to use substitution method, plug it into x over here. So that's going to be 2y plus y equals 180. So that is 3y equals 180. Divide by 3. Y equals 60 degrees. It is angle, so we still have to put our units.
Now we have to find...
That's one angle. How do I find the second one?
Do the first one.
Plug it in. What do you want to plug it into, first or second?
Wait, no, let's do the second.
Let's do the second because x is already by itself, right? X is already solved for. So x equals 2 times 60. So x equals 120 degrees. And we can keep those separate too because they're two separate angles. Do a mental check really quick. What is 60 plus 20? 180. And what is 60 times 2? 120. So it works, right? Okay. All right, last one for 7.5. Perimeter of a rectangle is 66 inches. The length is twice the width.
What's 3 less?
Oh, 3 less. I'm sorry. The length is 3 less than the width. Find the length and width. Okay. So how about we let L equal length, W equal width.
So this is like length times width.
Okay, we're not asking for area, we're asking for perimeter. Now what do I always tell you guys to do first for these types? Let's draw a rectangle to see what we're working with here.
Visual.
Okay, this one is length, right? This one is width. This is length and width. Okay? Okay. Length is equal to what? Well, let's write our first equation first. If I'm looking for perimeter, what does that mean? I add up all the sides, right?
Yeah.
So that is W plus L plus W plus L. So W plus W gives me 2W plus 2L, and the perimeter is what? 66. So that's our first equation. 2W plus 2L equals 66. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Second sentence. The length is, so let's start that right now. Length equals 3 less than twice the width. How would I write that?
3 minus 2
Not 3 minus 2W. That's going to give me a negative number because it's less. So 2W minus 3. 3 less than twice the width. It's a little confusing because that 3 less comes first in the sentence. But when you think about it, less means that we take it off at the end, right? Okay, so we have 2 equations here. What method am I going to use? Substitution, because we already have L solved for. So put parentheses around that 2W minus 3, and you're going to plug it in for L in the other equation. So that's going to give me 2W plus 2 times L is the same as 2W minus 3 equals 66. Okay, how do I solve for W? Distribute. So 2W plus 4W minus 6 equals 66. 2W plus 4W. 6W minus 6 equals 66. Add 6 to both sides, so 6W equals 72. Divide both sides by 6. W equals 12 what?
Degrees. Or inches.
It's in inches.
That's great.
So our width is 12 inches. Put a box around it so you don't lose it. Our instructions were find the length and the width. So how do I find the length? Plug it in. And let's plug it into the second one, right? Because we already have L by itself. So that is 2 times 12 minus 3. 2 times 12? 24 minus 3. L equals 21 inches.